Nexxlegacy.
Started. Hey, out there, beautiful world. This is Charles. I am Brandon Madison of Nexxlegacy Radio, and I am grateful to have dialogue and talk music and all things with a wonderful artist. Had a chance to listen to some of her music, but not only is she a vocalist and 2022 Whammy nominee, Best Jazz Album, she is an artist that I need everybody to really go pay attention to. So you can definitely follow her on all social media platforms, which we will dive deep into. So I'm going to hold the lines, and I'm going to make sure that this young lady gives us all social media information. And I want to welcome Karuna Shinsho to Nexxlegacy. How's it going?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, I appreciate you not just for giving me the opportunity to ask you some questions, talk music and things like that, but for the world to get to know you. And not just that, just to have people listen to your music. Because one thing that I definitely want to say is, I love jazz. I've always loved jazz. I feel like I've loved all genres of music in general. But, like I said, anytime I get a chance to have an opportunity to get wowed by an artist, I gotta go find them and talk to them and pick their brain and just say, hey, tell me about life. What motivated you and everything. So I have 500 million questions, but I'll narrow it down to a few. But I do appreciate not just what you are currently doing, but what you've done so far. And, I had to reach out to you. So again, thank you. And before we dive deep, I gotta ask you, how did you get started? What made you decide, look, this is what I was supposed to do?
Wow, yeah. I guess life just takes you on a journey, and perhaps it was planned for you, but I was going through, well, let's just go back a little bit. So my previous profession was a journalist, and then I became a mom of two boys, and then I was going through a difficult time in my life, basically was going through a divorce, and my family was kind of splitting apart. And during that difficult time, I turned to music to heal. And I rediscovered jazz and also Brazilian bossa nova. And just music helped me to heal. And then through music, I met a producer, a Brazilian musician, producer, composer by the name of Nani Assis. And I guess he saw something in me at that time, my passion for the music, and decided to help me with producing my first album. And it took about several years. It was during the pandemic that we had decided to do this, and it took several years to kind of think about the concept and what kind of arrangements we were going to have, and then, choosing the musicians. And I also had to write lyrics to some of the songs, and also the bossa nova music was also in Portuguese. So I also had to make sure that I could sing in Portuguese as well. So, it took several years of hard work, and eventually we got it out, and just really grateful that people actually are listening to it and, hopefully enjoying it.
So it sounds, Karuna, that you, during the process of your life, as far as the life changes and the whole thing that we call evolution, some, you embrace and take in, and some is going to hit you hard and, may knock you down, but you're going to pick yourself back up and try to figure out what path you want to go. So somewhere in between that journey, you develop this passion. Do you feel like you've always had it in you, and it just kind of took these stages in order for you to get it out and get it out to the world?
Yeah, I think I've been an artist at heart, but was never really given the opportunity to pursue it. Growing up in Hawaii, I started out with ballet, and then I was quite serious with it, and thought I would turn to art and become a ballerina as a profession, but my parents, being the typical Asian parents, they thought that, art is not really going to take you anywhere. You're not going to be able to earn a living, and so you should go to college and get a, real job. So I wasn't able to pursue that. And so, I ended up doing other things. But at the end of the day, I think the universe has a way of working things out at the end of the day. And I think that I had to go through life and experience a lot of different things. And so in some ways, coming to singing later in life, especially jazz, I think maybe I was able to infuse real meaning to it because I actually had gone through all those experiences, like falling in love and then falling out of love and being hurt, so I don't know. I think the lyrics and the songs had more meaning to me because I went through it and I knew exactly what it was talking about, as opposed to maybe starting out when I was younger and didn't really have life experience yet. So, of course, I look back and think, if I were younger and I had studied music when I was younger, then things would be easier. But, it's at the end of the day, you're always a student no matter what. So even now I'm obviously have so much more to learn, and I'm continuously studying, instruments to make my singing better and hopefully help me to eventually compose one day and write lyrics to my own compositions. I love to do that eventually. So no regrets. You just got to, carve your path and do your best and continue to learn and do better.
Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned that. Karuna Shinsho was my guest on Nexxlegacy Radio, and I always look at it like this because athletes have an expired clock. Like, your body's going to tell you when it's time to hang up as far as retire and things like that as well. You're gonna get faced like that with an athlete. But I think with musicians, there's really no time clock on when and what and how you get through, your day. You can still, you can start off young and still be in your 60s, 70s, 80s or whatnot, still performing, or doing certain things if you're, willing and able and things like that. But it doesn't really have an expiration, in my opinion. But you said something to me, I think that's interesting when it comes to the passion, because I kind of feel like in this day and age, it doesn't matter what genre of music, it's just, it's a need. I feel like, in a world where it's very robotic and it's getting more robotic by the day, there's still some of that extra that we need in terms of transparency, love and loss of love, or, life journeys that we experience, putting it through song and how that can inspire somebody and things like that too. So when you're not just taking your music, but just in general, as far as what you've experienced throughout your music journey, loving and listening to music, do you find the sense of it being the same? Like we do need full transparency, and it's okay to be vulnerable.
Yeah, I think two things. You mentioned passion. I think we are blessed if we can do something that we love, because many people would love to do something that they love, but sometimes they're not given the opportunities, or they're not in the right place at the right time. And so I think to be able to do something that you love is really a gift, and so I'm very grateful for that, and to have people actually listen to me sing. I mean, that's just still a trip for me. I can't get over that. But I think that, in terms of exploration, you were mentioning earlier, I think you're never too old to do anything, really. I mean, even athletes, I think they transition into doing something else, even, still in the world of sports, but perhaps you're not performing like at the highest level physically, but yet, you can still do something else, like maybe coaching or mentoring, or, there's always something that you can do. So I think as long as you have a passion, and you understand that you have to constantly learn and be a student forever. It's nothing stays the same, and it shouldn't. The more things change, and you're able to transform and reach a higher level, then it's all good. So that's basically what I'm trying to do now, is to head towards that next album that I'm starting to work on. And I've learned a lot from my first album, and there are things that I probably wouldn't do this time around, and things that I would like to do as well. So yeah, it's all a learning experience, but at the end of the day, as long as your heart is in the right place and you enjoy it, and then I think people also feel the joy as well, and that's all you can ask for.
I think that's the strength of what music is, and I always feel like if it's not, I just don't want to, go to a concert and just see you stand there and sing. I want to actually feel that energy, not just with your voice, or if you have a band behind you, or even if it's a track. Just to be able to capture that moment. It's really the moment, really, that I feel when it comes to music that's going to set not just you apart and other artists when it comes just withstanding the test of time when it comes to music, but it's the feeling. And I think, I always keep rolling it back to just the feeling. It's not just what I see in front of me. It's how you feel when you hear a specific song. And, I'm just going to roll off just I Mean You, Truly You, listening to, when I went on your website and listened to that, I was like, okay, this grabbed me.
Thank you.
Because there was a lot of relatable stuff to what you're saying. And I think it's important for us to not just listen or hear you sing, because, clearly talented, but also just the energy that is put out there when it comes to you doing what you do. I think that has to take more precedence than anything when it comes to how music should be, listen to. And I'm not saying that, okay, here's the blueprint on how you're supposed to listen to music, because everybody's going to capture it a different way, but you're supposed to walk away or come away with a feeling about, wow, she took this performance to another level, or this person, made me feel this way, because it's all energy, right, when it's all said and done.
Yeah, well, it's so interesting you mentioned the I Mean You song. So that's a Thelonious Monk tune, and my producer, what I love about him is that he really pushed me to another level with that song. Instead of writing the lyrics in English, he said, why don't you try it in Japanese, which is actually not my first language. English is my first language, but Japanese is my second language. So I thought, oh my gosh, I have to write lyrics in Japanese to a Thelonious Monk tune. Am I going to be able to do it? But somehow I was able to do it, and it's kind of neat. I don't think I've never heard that tune sung in Japanese, so it might be the first out there. But but also at the same time, I think jazz is jazz is great in the sense that you have to really be in the moment. And I think when I first started singing, I have a tendency to want to be perfect and just get everything, done the way I want to do. But it doesn't really turn out that way in jazz. It's you have to be in the moment and respond to your musicians, and you're probably going to make mistakes, but that's just life, right? And you mentioned earlier about vulnerability, and you definitely are very vulnerable when you're performing, especially in jazz, because jazz is never going to sound the same each time, and it shouldn't, because it's not like classical music, or opera, where you pretty much have to sing a certain way according to what the composer wanted you to sing. I think with jazz, you have so many different interpretations and the freedom to interpret in your own way. So in that sense, it's hugely challenging for me, and definitely scary at the same time, but it is also very exhilarating as well. And when it goes well, it's really great. And then when it doesn't, you just have to have thick skin and feel like, okay, I screwed up, but, I'm going to do better next time. And as you experience that,
yeah,
you experience that, you get stronger. But, I remember I used to kill myself, when I made a mistake or felt like I didn't sing well, and I would just beat myself so hard. But I'm getting slowly better at accepting that, what, when it's done, and you got to move forward and learn from it and hopefully do better next time.
Karuna Shinsho is my guest on Nexxlegacy Radio. And listen, Karuna, you're human just like everybody else is. I think, we get more of a sense of who you are with even some of the mistakes that you make or you seem to feel like you've made, because your mistake may be, I didn't catch that, or I didn't see it, or you may catch it because you know yourself better than everybody else, right? So we may not see it in full glory, but at the same time, even if, I'm just saying, something that's off key or something that may have been missed or whatever, I feel like that's still human. That's still you. You're not looking for perfection somewhat. So even if there is a couple things that's off, you're still striving to keep doing better than you have before, better than what you've done before. And to me, I think that's a challenge everybody should have too, because, I don't know about you, but as I'm getting older, I'm still making mistakes, or I'm still trying to figure out like, okay, this which way to go. And you may have gotten to a point where you feel like you're comfortable, but at the same time, you're one day away or one bad day away from being, oh, you know what, I am flawed. These are still some of the things that and I think that's all a part of life, even with music, right?
Yeah, and I think people can relate to you if they see that you are human, right? I mean, that you're not just this perfect, computer-generated thing that's out there, There's a lot of that going on right now, where people are taking photos of themselves with, perfect filters and, and I'm sure with singing too, right? They can perfect the voice when they record things. So we lose that naturalness as well. So, and also as we get older too, I think we get wiser, and I feel like I've been through a lot in life, and I try at least to think to myself that, life is really short and you just gotta appreciate everything that comes your way every day, because you just never know when it's going to end. So, I always try to be grateful, because you just never know what will happen.
I love that you're adding the human element along with music, not just the genre of jazz but to me, I think everybody needs to listen and pay attention. I used to think of, days where it's just like, I would always hear the lyrics of certain songs, but not pay attention to what it really meant or deeper behind the scenes. Or I would listen to jazz and I would hear, if it's something that's not in song, but just in instruments, period. Like, I just want to hear and feel the energy that I feel like people are missing. Like, people are missing how it's supposed to make you feel instead of trying to critique it. You know what I'm saying? In some cases. So it's weird to me. You mentioned earlier about, you learned a lot in your first album and you're working on the next one. And, you want to try to at least, go from what you've learned with album one to, basically kind of, pave the way to see how, how your sophomore album is going to, feel like, look like. What did you learn, per se, from the first one, and how are you applying what you've learned to this one, the next one?
I think the first one was just completely, everything was new for me, because I wasn't in the music industry before. I wasn't in it for years and years and years and knew what I was doing. I really, just everything was really new. In the beginning, I even had the experience of recording in a home studio, and then later we ended up doing it in a actual professional studio. So, I experienced a lot of interesting things in the home studio. I was literally singing in a bathroom. And Yeah, that was like my isolation booth in a bathroom. So I was like, wow, this is
Nice.
kind of interesting. And then later I was recording in an actual booth in a professional studio. So, I got to experience different things, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I think as you gain more experience, then you have more confidence in knowing what you want for a song, say, arrangements and maybe the musicians that you want to work with, and then the songs that you may want to choose. And so I think, I think I've learned a lot from the first album, and so the second one will be different. I think the first album was basically a combination of jazz and bossa nova tunes, but we're thinking the second album will be more just bossa nova and all the songs that are of the famous composer Antonio Carlos Jobim, and just make it a more intimate acoustic vibe, maybe just with a guitarist and a little bit of percussion, and then just me singing is what I'm thinking. I think the more you do it, the more experience you gain, and the more confident you are. And I think, and then you start to be more confident in your creativity as well. So, I think those are the differences basically between the first and the next album, and hopefully people will also enjoy it as well.
There you go, and see the growth as well. Karuna's debut album, To Love Again, is out right now on all streaming platforms. I need everybody to go and listen and tune in and purchase and do it again. Let it be a recurring thing, not just now, but go do it right now. So all the people that will be listening or whatnot to not just the station, but just continue to push the envelope. Support the people who love what they do. Karuna sounds like she loves what she does, right? So I need everybody to go out there and support her. To Love Again, available, all platforms. Go get it. Second album, is there any target dates or anything that the public would like to know in regards to that?
Yeah, so I'm actually in the middle of a transition in my life where I'm actually going to be moving up to New York from DC. Okay. So I'm hoping, and of course I mentioned that I am still a mother of two boys, but my second one is actually going off to college as well. So now I'll be freer to actually, do more gigs. And so that's the other thing, which is kind of related to your question earlier about, the difference between the first and second album. I really want to get out and get more performing under my belt and just get out there and do more gigs, and I think that would really help with my artistry as well. And I think in terms of the second album, we'll probably start work on it hopefully sometime next year. But in the meantime, I'd like to get out more and sing in New York.
That's beautiful. And not only that, I mean, you still have a lot of life in this debut album that needs to go out there to the public, which is very, very important. Karuna Shinsho is my guest on Nexxlegacy Radio. And how do you feel about just radio in general when it comes to not just marketing and promoting your brand of music? Like, your music, if you haven't noticed, I mean, when I pursued you, it wasn't just because I wanted to just interview you. I wanted your music on rotation on my station, right? So that's a given, and that's done. But how do you feel about just the radio stations in general in 2023 as opposed to, any of the decades past?
Yeah, you're probably more an expert than I am in it because I'm still learning about it. In terms of promoting music, I don't know. Right now it seems to be much more difficult in some ways because you have the internet and there's just so much out there. So for an artist to try to get his or her music out there, it's probably challenging. It's not like the old days where people join some big record label and then the record label, sort of nurtures you as an artist and then, maybe has more control over your artistry. But at the same time, because they're such a huge outfit, they can help promote you and, maybe help you become a big star. But I think for most people, it's not like that. And it's just everyone's posting themselves on social media now. And I think in some ways, I think that's good, because it's sort of leveled the playing field, so to speak. But yet at the same time, there's just so much content out there that, can you really stand out among the sea of artists that are trying to promote themselves? So I don't know. It's really difficult, I think. It's great if we can get played on radio, but I don't know. It's you tell me. It must be pretty challenging for artists, right, to try to promote themselves.
Well, you said it, because I feel like this, because again, I'm just mentioning Nexxlegacy because you're on it, and this is your home where we can basically control the narrative when it comes to what's being played. And I am honored and privileged to have your music on rotation, which is a given. That's the way it is. Not just this interview being aired, but also your music. Constant rotation and consistently. And I think that's important, not just for a day or a week. It'll be ongoing as long as the people want it, and as long as you're continuing to enhance your brand. I feel like that's important. But to what you're saying is, there's so much out there, Karuna, so much. And when it comes to music, radio stations, podcasts, different things, that the fact that it's still hard for not just someone like yourself, but others to still be heard. We're just a very, very small drop in a big old bucket. It's still weird to me, because we have the opportunity, but I just think that, people help people. You know how your career started. You had someone that, looked inside to see what you were able and capable of doing and helped you out with your first album and just the branding of Karuna Shinsho, right? Same thing with radio. We need to nurture you and inspire you, and you inspire others. And again, it goes, people help people. And in order for us to be able to be, to have that playing field be equal, we need to show that unconditional support. So it's not about, what money goes into what pocket. It's really about enhancing a brand, because that will eventually, follow itself. Wherever attraction goes, there's going to be opportunity for Karuna to go on, do shows, get these gigs that she talked about earlier, right? So, I think it's important. I think we have to just, basically just kind of say, what, we need each other when it's all said and done to grow. And sometimes, we have to say it more than once, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, you're totally right. And I think, the more people that can support each other and cooperate, then all the better. I mean, I think, like you said, if I didn't have my producer, Nanny, who believed in me, because I came out of nowhere, and, it's for him, he didn't really have to invest his time and energy on me, but I think he saw something, and so thankfully he did, and he, took the risk of helping to produce my first album, and so I'm really grateful about that. And so, I definitely, I'm sure you will come across people that are naysayers and who really don't, want to help your journey. But that's life anyway, right? You're going to meet people that, may not like you or may not want to help you. But then on the other end of it, you'll have people that do like you and really want to help you. And so you just have to surround yourself with people that are, positive and, that can support you. And that's basically what I've been trying to do, is to black out negative energy and negative people. And, life is too short to have stress in your life. I think, especially at my age, it's really about just focusing on what really matters, and just surrounding yourself with positive people that can, be a great influence on you.
Hey, Karuna, it's that old saying goes that, how certain people back in the day, and I don't know about you, but, I'll be like, some people said I couldn't hang with the in crowd. I don't even believe in the in crowd. What is that anyways? And not only that, I don't need to be in the in crowd. I can create my own. That's fine.
Yeah.
It's no big
We're
deal.
not in high school anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
We ain't in high school anymore.
Exactly. But you know what? People are still talking like they are in high school, and that's the weird thing about it as well. No, this crowd should. Oh, this is only good here. Like it's not good there. But you know, there's going to be people that may not like ... fill in the blanks. But you know, it's important to align yourself with a lot of supporters, but also, you know, people who are not just yes people as well. Someone that can come in and give you real critique and just really that has interest at heart, which is important. So, you know, hey, you know what? We're able to be different. I would rather be that one that stands apart than just blending in with a crowd that's probably not going to make me comfortable anyway. So that's the way I see it. It goes with music. It goes with radio. It goes with life. It goes with anything that is really, you know, either pro-evolution or that, you know, detriment to how you want to grow. I think it's important to study and learn, but also form your own opinions and your own beliefs and things of that nature, too. That's important.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think maybe if I add one more thing is got to stay humble, too. It's easy to let things get to your head. So, you know, you got to just realize, you know, as long as you're true to your heart and know what's important in life, then I think, you know, you'll be fine. Indeed.
Karuna Shinsho is my guest on Nexxlegacy Radio. She is also brought to you by karunasings.com. Make sure you go ahead and go over to the website and look at and experience the Karuna magic. So listen, with everything going on in social media, you have Facebook. That's where we connected. You know, you also have Instagram, where I'm following you as well. So I want to give you the opportunity to tell your folks that is supporting you now and those who are just getting to know you as well, where to find you.
Yeah, you just mentioned basically all of social media right now. I'm on Facebook, Karuna Shinsho. I have an artist page that they can also follow for professional latest news, Instagram at Karuna Shinsho, and my website that you mentioned, karunasings.com. And, my music is on all streaming platforms, so if they can check it out, To Love Again. It's my first love, passion, and I hope to continue to create more, and so grateful for everyone to listen, and also grateful to you for having me on my show. Thank you so much.
Oh, no, you're the best. And To Love Again is available, once again, on all streaming platforms. But that's just like, you know, you have kids, so that's just like your oldest. So you can have another kid and still love them the same. But your oldest kid is your oldest kid, right? So, you know.
Oh, yes. As long as I don't have to go into labor like I did with my kids, then I'm all good.
Hey, Karuna, your labor is getting behind the booth and singing and composing and doing what you do. That's your labor right there. And
the musical labor of love.
There you go. There you go. That's a good way to put it. Music labor. Hey, she's gonna have multiple songs, not just right now, but she's gonna have some that I need everybody to pay attention to. Early labor, music labor pains, coming soon, new song. Karuna, as we wrap this up, I want to tell you that it's an honor and a privilege not just to be one of the ones that's not just seeking you out to interview you, maybe booking you and things like that as far as that goes. I'm really proud of you, like your process as far as not just how you got started, but the music, because it's definitely worth listening to again and again and again. And I'm not just saying that again. It's as you get to know me and my station, you'll see and hear your music on rotation because we believe in what you're trying to do. So I can't thank you enough for not just coming on the Nexxlegacy Radio, but also continuing to put out something that I feel like will be your legacy and will continue to be. Because, you know, once you put out these songs and these videos, I mean, they're going to last forever. So I know your kids and family's going to be proud just like I am.
Oh, thank you so much. That's means a lot to me. I really appreciate it, and I just hope that I can continue to create and create things that people think is worthwhile to hear, and hopefully touches their hearts and minds. I mean, that's basically why we're doing this, is that, we all have mutual common experiences that we can relate to each other, and that we can come together rather than be apart.
Exactly. And I also will say real quick is the fact that, you are putting out this music, and you're, staying up late, you're writing, you're doing a lot of different things. You're putting a lot of time, effort, energy, passion, everything that embodies the energy of effort into, trying to put something out there to the people. It's like you're giving us little pieces of yourself every single time you put that work in. So, our best bet is to make sure that we find ways to support it, not just, on social media, but just going out there and making purchases of, and, wanting to book you for shows, and trying to be able to figure out how to help grow your brand. So that's what we're here for.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Hey, it sounds simple, Karuna, but there's work to do. So that means that not just we still got to make sure we put in that work to make sure that we put this into action, like, consistently, and not just, for the moment. So I'm looking forward to, not just having you come back, but I'm looking forward to, future things that will be in play in terms of, shows, and I can't thank you enough. I'm looking forward to album 2, but I'm still experiencing album 1 as well. So
thank you. Thank you.
That's gonna hold me over, Karuna, until the next one. So thank you.
Good. Please. I'll keep you posted for sure.
Sounds good. Thank you again for coming on the Nexxlegacy, and you and I will trade messages. I know where to find you, and I'll make sure I'll put this out for all of those to see. So when I start tagging you, just know, Nexxlegacy's coming. Here we go.
Sounds good.
Here we go. Karuna, blessings to you. Much success.
Yes. Thank you. Take care.
Nexxlegacy.